season where Leicester City were scripted to win the Premier League and the sacrifice of their owner. So I have a load of friends who are super into the Premier League and football. I was a massive fan of the Premier League and football. It was my dream to be a professional footballer as a youngster. I played at a professional club for 4 or 5 years when I was younger, and it was my dream. But as I've started to decode professional sports and see how scripted they are, I no longer even watch the games. So this video is a shout out to my friend who's a diehard Leicester City fan, who can't accept the fact that his club, his beloved Leicester, was scripted to win the Premier League. I'm going to prove to you now, mate, exactly why it was scripted and why the owner was ritually sacrificed in a helicopter crash. So the biggest single football bet ever landed was on the famous 5,000 to 1 offered by bookmakers on Leicester City winning the Barclays Premier League in 2015 and 16. Guys, it's hard enough to win a bet at 5 to 1, but to win a bet at 5,000 to 1 is almost impossible. But it happened, and somebody bet on it. As far as I'm aware, they cashed out. But again, 5,000 to 1. Incredible odds. So Leicester City, the club that won the Premier League that season, they have some interesting numbers, in particular 63 and 81. But I'm going to focus on 81 at the beginning because it's such a big number. So Leicester City equals 81. And Ritual, as I've mentioned before, has the 81 in 2 ciphers. 27, another big number in this video, connected to Leicester City's scripted win. So look at the 81s flying around. The season they won the Premier League, they finished with 81 points. What a ritual. 10 points ahead of Arsenal. See how the Man City and Man United both finished with 66 points. I love that number, the Masons and the Jesuits, 66. But 81, because it was a ritual. If you look at the squad that they had that season, it was average at best. Leicester were one of the favourites to get relegated that season. And they win the league by 10 points. They had the likes of Danny Simpson, who's about as good as Bart Simpson. They had Wes Morgan, the captain. They had Mahrez, who's turned out to have a fantastic career, but when he was at the club, he was pretty much a nobody. You got Vardy, who came from non-league up into League One and then finally gets to the Premier League. He had an amazing season, 24 goals. Then you have Kante, who was pretty much a nobody, who turned into a superstar. There's something with that guy winning the Premier League with Leicester and Chelsea, and then he won the World Cup with France. There's something with him. You just see him as this little guy who's got a nice smile. There's some weird connection with him because he was playing in a really low level in France, and now he's arguably the best defensive midfielder in the world. Vardy playing the 8th tier in England as one of the best strikers in the world. Because they decide who makes it and who doesn't. Straight up fact. So the suspicious death of the club's owner. I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to be able to pronounce that, but you can see it. So the owner of Leicester City during their monumental title winning season was this guy. He bought the club in 2010, like 201, like the Jesuit order, remember? Or if you don't want to use the zeros, 21, like 21 equals Jesuit, or Jesuit equals 21. And owned the club until his tragic death on October 27th, 2018. Look how 18 is a reflection of 81, like ritual. Where he died outside the club stadium in a helicopter crash. The helicopter crash occurred on October 27th, and that's a date with full numerology of 75. So it was the 10th month, 27th day, and it's in 2018. It equals 75. His surname, which once again I will not pronounce, equals 75, and he dies on a date with full numerology of 75. His surname also sums up to 147 in English ordinal, matching Leicester here, and also Thailand, the nation he was from. Look at Freemason as well. I believe the Freemasons came up with the concept of professional football and the Premier League. And look how Freemason and Leicester share the 96, the 42, and the 147. It's not a coincidence. Leicester is owned by Masons, and it always has been. This guy, he took over from a guy called Milan Mandaric, who I'm sure is also a Freemason and a Jesuit. So look at that. Surname 147, Freemason 147, Leicester 147, Thailand 147. Leicester and Helicopter both have a reduction gematria of 57. See, Leicester's 57, Helicopter's 57. He owned Leicester City Football Club. He died in a helicopter crash outside the stadium. Leicester's in England, which has an English ordinal of 57. But get this, the helicopter crashed 159 days before his birthday, or his next birthday. Look how helicopter equals 159. Helicopter crash equals 88 in single reduction, and the season they won the league began on the 8th of August. Like 8-8, the 8th day of the 8th month, 88. So scripted, it's unbelievable. The helicopter in which he died in was called the Augusta Westland AW169. Notice it has the 63 full reduction, just how Leicester City has the full reduction of 63. I also notice it has the 113, and if you type in Kobe Bryant, he has a gematria value of 113, and he died in a helicopter crash, which I believe was a ritual, no doubt in my mind. He also has the 41 gematria value, and he died at the age of 41. But I've already done a video on Kobe. Let me get back to Leicester City and the owner, or the old owner, before he died in a helicopter crash. The crash fell on a day with standard numerology of 55. So again, October the 10th month, 27th day, and it was the year 2018. So equals 55. Notice King Power equals 55. This is where the owner made his billions at a company called King Power. So equals 55. He died outside the King Power Stadium on this date numerology, 55. His helicopter crashed on a date with a tiny numerology of 19. So if you do, look, see this is 10, 27, 18, like this. But you do the 1 plus 0, plus 2 plus 7, plus 1 plus 8. It gets you 19, and the 19th prime number is 67. That's significant, guys, because blood sacrifice equals 67 in full reduction, and human sacrifice equals 67 in full reduction. Once again, proving that this was a ritual murder or sacrifice. The 2015-16 Premier League was the 24th, which is a reflection of 42. Okay, it was the 24th season, and Leicester equals 42, the reflection of 24. Their top goal scorer that season was Jamie Vardy, who scored 24 goals, the reflection of 42. 24 goals in the 24th Premier League season. Even how many goals these players score is scripted. And as I've said before, the story of Jamie Vardy, it's literally something out of a fictional story, a Disney movie. It came from non-league to become one of the best strikers in world football. Definitely in the Premier League, if you look at his goal record. He scores a lot of penalties, though. But yeah, what a story. 24 goals in the 24th season. Leicester win it. It's so scripted, it makes me sick to my stomach. So the owner, he made his billions, like I said, because he was the founder and CEO of King Power Duty Free. Hence why he changed the stadium name of Leicester City from Walker Stadium to King Power Stadium. There's something with Gary Lineker as well, I've noticed. So Gary Lineker played for Leicester, and he was also the face of the Walker's Crisp commercials. And I've started questioning him a lot. He was the Golden Boot winner in the 1990 World Cup. He had that connection with Diego Maradona. Played for Barcelona, who I think were a Jesuit-owned club. He's the host of Match of the Day, the most popular show in regards to football. Somewhat with that guy. But anyway, I'm not doing a video on Gary Lineker. I'm sure I probably could. Maybe I will in the future. See how King Power has a reverse full reduction of 44, the name of his company and how he named the stadium. And then notice he was born on April the 4th, which can be seen as 4-4, because April is the 4th month of the year and he was born on the 4th day. Just like King Power is 44. Just beyond belief, really, isn't it? But it's happening. He died on the 27th during the 27th Premier League season. Ritual equals 27 because it was a ritual what took place. Him dying in a helicopter crash outside of his stadium that he owns. But get this, to further cement my thoughts that this was a ritual murder. On Saturday, the 27th of October 2018, Leicester played at home to West Ham United. It was a 5:30 kickoff. Premier League match finished in a 1-1 draw. At around 8:30, so 3 hours later, 3 hours after the game started, his helicopter took off outside the stadium and it crashed. Is the number backwards. So West Ham United, they were nothing compared to Leicester winning the league. West Ham United equals 72, which is a reflection of 27. Look how the Premier League has two ciphers that equal 72, a reflection of 27, ritual. Premier League is just one big ritual. It's owned by the Masons, the Jesuits, and they make all their money, billions of dollars, TV revenue, merchandise, and we worship these false gods, these false idols. They are nothing but athletic actors, and they're all in it. Anybody who's playing at the top now in any world sport, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, the Premier League, the Champions League, the Tour de France, top levels of snooker, whatever sport you can think of, it's taking place. Golf, massive Jesuit sport, golf. I've predicted a couple of winners recently this year through the decode. Now take a look at the sponsor of the corrupt Premier League and you'll see who really runs the show. So it's called the Barclays Premier League, or it was when they won the league. 81 like Ritual, like Leicester City. 27, I've discussed that number massively. 54 like the Jesuit Order. See how the reversible reduction of Jesuit order is 72, which is a reflection of 27. They run the show. They came up with it, and they've been deceiving us for years. The teams that win the World Cup is all predetermined. That's why you see the same nations always winning it. It's all determined. Who wins the Golden Boot? It's all determined. See how Harry Kane won it, the most recent World Cup? He's got a couple of connections with Lineker. He's got the Golden Boot winner. They both played for Spurs. Yeah, Harry Kane. I wonder how many penalties he scored. I'm not sure, but it's all scripted. So the game versus West Ham United occurred on the 79th day of the season, and 79 is the 22nd prime. And just think of in football, there's 22 players that start the game. But get this, 79th day of the season, he dies in a helicopter crash. Helicopter crash equals 79 in full reduction. Ritual. Leicester City's nickname is the Foxes. And I saw some interesting numbers. The English ordinal of the Foxes is 102, which is a reflection of 201, the big Jesuit number. And the Masonic 33 makes an appearance here. Star striker Jamie Vardy turned 33 this year, so don't be surprised to see him win the EPL Golden Boot Award. I think Vardy gets the top goal scorer this year. And he's already banged a few, and I wonder how many of them are penalties, I'm not sure. But look, EPL, as they call it in the US, today's game in the EPL is the Foxes going against the Red Devils. It's like they have to call it the EPL. There's the 33. Owned by the Masons. And Fox. Just look into this word. If you look into Pythagorean, so F equals 6, O equals 60, and X equals 600, it gets you 666. And just look at Fox News. 21st Century Fox. The Foxes, Leicester winning the Premier League. It's just Megan Fox. The fox from Pinocchio who deceived Pinocchio. The cunning fox. It's just outrageous. And you've got the channel Fox, which I think The Simpsons aired on, who've been foreshadowing all these events. And people say it's just coincidence. How do these writers make these predictions? Get a grip. Their coach when they won the Premier League was an Italian named Claudio Ranieri, and he's often known as the Tinker Man, as he was often accused of over-rotating his squad. The word Tinkerman has numbers that connect to Leicester. So Leicester equals 42, as does Tinkerman. Leicester equals 57, as does Tinkerman. So these coaches who got these clubs, it's all predetermined by the numbers. Bilic, who just got sacked for West Brom despite drawing 1-1 against Man City, one of the best teams in the world, goes to the Etihad and gets a point and then gets sacked straight after. Who replaces him? Sam Allardyce, the coach who's never been relegated, because that's his storyline. So again, you'll probably get some good odds on West Brom surviving because they're right near the bottom of the league. They're going to survive. They've got Allardyce, who's never been relegated. That's his storyline. Interesting also how the Football Association, or the FA, was established in 1863, more than likely by the Masons. And Leicester City won the Premier League 153 years later. Look how Leicester City equals 153. Look how it equals 63. And how the FA was established in 1863. Look at the 81 ritual. So they've only ever won the Premier League or this top flight once, 153 years after the establishment of the FA. Leicester City equals 153. Get this. Proof that scripted, I'm not going to say proof, information that indicates that scripted sports are likely connected. So Mark Selby, I looked into famous athletes from Leicester, and I couldn't really find any, but I recognise Mark Selby's name. I used to watch snooker, got Rocket Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Hendry, Jimmy White, Mark Williams. Mark Selby is a decent player in scripted snooker. So he was born in Leicester, he's from Leicester, but get this, the connection here between Selby and Leicester City. He's from Leicester. Max Selby won his second World Snooker title the same day as Leicester City won the Premier League. So yeah, maybe that would be a coincidence. Okay. His win came 11 minutes after Leicester City won the title. He also has a daughter who was born on the 11th of the 11th, 2014. But get this, in 2014, Selby also won the World Championship. And that's his only other win. That was the same day that Leicester City celebrated their promotion to the Premier League. So the two big titles he's won, you've got the one where they won the Premier League, and then you've got the one where they were promoted to the Premier League. That's when he wins his two titles on the same day. Also, it's interesting how Leicester have a reverse ordinal of 147, as I've mentioned. I've discussed the number 147 in detail. But 147 is the highest break you can get in the game of snooker. Snooker is another game that's owned by the Jesuits and the Masons. Pretty much all professional sports. Maximum break, also known as a maximum, a 147, or orally a 147, in snooker is the highest possible break in a single frame. A player compiles a maximum break by putting all 15 reds and 15 blacks for 120 points, followed by all 6 colours for a further 27 points. What have I said about this number 27 and 72? So people will say, how does O'Sullivan pull off that shot? I'm sure it's scripted in some way. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if they are magnets. There's definitely magnets in the NBA. 100%. I think field goals, there's magnets. Something going on in the Premier League. I've never seen so many games result in teams hitting the post or the crossbar. I've never seen it in, 25 years of watching it. Seems like every game, woodwork gets hit a couple of times. But, yeah, it's connected. They connect sports with politics as well and major events. They find a way of doing it through decode and through gematria. So there you have it. A few people have asked me to do a video about this. Put a lot of effort into it. Luckily, I know a lot about football. I knew a lot about this season where Leicester won the league. I was like, I questioned it so much, but I was like, you know what? I guess the underdog came through. I should embrace it. It's not Manchester United that won it, or Man City or Liverpool, the same teams that constantly win it. Chelsea, same 4 or 5 teams. But Leicester won it with 81 points. Congratulations, Leicester, on your scripted Premier League win. And in regards to the owner, tragic death, but I'm pretty sure he was a Mason. And I'm pretty sure he was aware of what was coming, to be honest. So if you still don't believe me that sports are scripted and people are getting ritually sacrificed after this video, then again, you never ever will. Peace out.